Hello everyone, welcome to our video 5B. Do you want to come over later? This is our second video for level 5, and this time we're going to be learning about phrasal verbs. As you can notice from the title, phrasal verbs are very common in real life conversations. Okay, as usual, we have two objectives. The first one, we use phrasal verbs to talk in informal situations, and number two, to differentiate types of particles when using phrasal verbs. We have 3 recommendations for you. Number 1, you can pause the video at any time. Number 2, it's a great idea to take notes. And number 3, make sure you ask your teacher any question. Remember, the idea is you watch this material out of class, and then when you come back to the next session, you can ask your teacher whatever you don't understand. Okay? I'm going to show you now a very short video clip that's called The Mystery of the Missing Cat. And I want you to pay close attention to the phrasal verbs they are using.
Hey guys!
Ned!
I feel like we're always bumping into each other.
That's because you're clumsy.
I think he meant because we keep seeing each other.
Oh.
What are you doing?
My roommate's cat went missing.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where he went.
We could help. Absolutely.
Great! Let's get into it! I guess we can cross off this street.
We should at least hand out some flyers.
Okay. Then let's check in with Mac and Cindy. Maybe they've made some progress.
Okay, this is the end of our video clip, and I wanted to check now with you what phrasal verbs are. Okay, remember, phrasal verbs, it's always a combination of a main verb and a particle. In the example here, you can say one of the ones we are using when we talk about the routine. For example, he woke up at 6:30 in the morning. Strangers woke him up. Okay, I wanted to notice how this very common phrasal verb can be conjugated, of course, in present, past, or future. But I want you to notice also the use of the preposition or particle split when you mention the object, in this case, a person in the middle. Okay, this is also possible. You can split up phrasal verbs as well. Okay, now particles. Particles are part of the verb phrase, and they often change the meaning of the verb. Pay attention to the photograph here on the left. He looked up at the skyscraper. Okay, in this particular case, look up, it's used meaning that he actually raised his face to look to the top of the building. Okay, but on the right side of the picture we have a girl, and we can say she looked up a word in her dictionary. In this particular case, we are using the same phrasal verb, meaning that she actually looked for the answer. She checked or she searched for the meaning of a word. Okay, so this is important for you to know. Now let's look to the other side. Many phrasal verbs and one-word verbs have similar meanings. For example, you can say wake up as a synonym for awaken, go on as a synonym for continue, or even take off as a synonym for remove. Okay, what I want you to understand though is that phrasal verbs will always be more common and popular in real conversation. Okay, now think about these examples. Intransitive phrasal verbs don't have any objects, so this is important. Look at the example. We're talking about beautiful Egypt. He grew up in Egypt. If you noticed, there is not a real complement after the phrasal verb. That's why we call it intransitive. In the second example, she will hang up before she gets into her car. Hang up as a synonym for finish the conversation. Okay, again, it's a very common expression. On the right side, I want you to look at the story that is narrated about this girl. First, I worked out for an hour, meaning I exercised. Then I dressed up and dropped in at the party, meaning she put on some very fancy clothes and then dropped in or stopped by a place, in this case a party. And finally, no one found out that I didn't have an invitation. In this case, to find out, meaning nobody noticed, nobody discovered. Okay? So look at how phrasal verbs are used in a story, for example. Now, let's practice a little bit. We have been talking about how these verbs are really common. What happens before and during a party? Well, make some sentences using the phrasal verbs below. As you can notice, here we have some forms like dress up, ask over, put on, sit up, straighten up, show up, let in, and run out. Okay, you have been actually studied some of these phrasal verbs in class already, but I want you to think about what do you do before you go to a party and during a party using these phrasal verbs. There is a sentence as an example. You can use this one to start your story. Number 1, I dress up nicely. What do you do after that? Probably, well, if you are the one invited to a party home, right, you would ask over friends. You could ask over family, right? And then I'm going to help you with one more. And after that, I want you to think about full examples using these expressions. After that, you would probably put on nice shoes, nice dress, or a suit for a boy, right? And this is a very common expression when we talk about vocabulary about clothing, right? And then you move on using the expressions about party time, okay? As usual, there's some homework I want you to complete after watching this short video about phrasal verbs. Make sure you complete the video check-in after watching the videos that we are sharing on the campus here with you. And there are some references here that I invite you to go over in case you want further information about phrasal verbs. And this is pretty much the people who collaborated making these videos possible. Thank you very much for your time, and I'll see you next time. Bye!
Universidad Santo Tomás, institución vigilada por el Ministerio de Educación Nacional.